had to count the days. It's not Motab Monday. It's not Live and Shit Tuesday, which, as you can see, I missed yesterday. It is Mean Girls Wednesday. Who's got their pink on? What's going on? It has been raining like the dickens around here. It actually sounded like it was hailing earlier this morning. For sure. For sure. I was like, ugh, thunder, lightning. And I'm like, all right, here we go. It is springtime. True Crime Beat said, I got my pink on. V. Oakley, look at you. V. Oakley has a pink bra on. She said in, not on. Now, this is what I need to know. Where do you put it in? Where do you put that in? Carrie has a pink gown on. Huh. I have my pink bra in. I'm just going to leave that alone. I don't like to get into people's sex lives. Let's go ahead and see how Mike is doing. And we're going to talk about Jack and Lily. Actually, do you all have time for a story? A story real quick? Something really strange happened to me last night. Really strange. I was in bed. That's not strange at all. It was about 10 o'clock. And I got a call from Uli. I did. Now, she butt dialed me, but I don't think she realized that she had her camera on. Her and her friend Judy, they have this thing going on with Troy the plumber. Well, she accidentally took this picture of Troy the plumber under her sink. Yes. And this morning, she's trying to put it off like she didn't do anything. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I was busy. Well, we know what she was busy with. If I had stayed on the phone, had she kept her phone on much longer, we would have seen Laura Uli sitting on that dude's face. True story. Let's go ahead and tell Mike, good morning. It's hump day.
Oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
Woo! Woo! And we wear pink. Who's got their pink on? Carrie G said, my sink is broke. Uli has always got plumbing problems. Then she does the butt dial on purpose so everyone can see what she's really got going on underneath her sink. Where is Laura Uli? Is she making up? Is she putting bacon grease down the sink to call Troy back? I've just about figured out her game. I've just about figured it out. All right, let's go ahead and tell everybody good morning and glad to be back. Sorry that lazy old Brooks wasn't here yesterday. All right, on Monday, it became 10 months that beautiful Jack and Lily have been vanished, gone. Good morning, polyethylene Pam. Hey, preschool granny. And what really disturbs me about this case is not the fact that Jack and Lily are missing. That right there is obvious. It's like the broadside of the barn. That's disturbing. That is disturbing. Cray Cray said, if you're Brooks, where is Dunn? Dunn over there taking a nap. His black ass name is OJ. That's my cat. Dunn getting ready to get up and get him some cat food. Dunn about ready to get up on the counter and start knocking all my shit off. That's who Dunn is around here. But cute. I like it. 10 months. Daniel was in court this week. He didn't look bothered at all to be there, and he's got to be back March 30th. But a good friend of mine, a good friend of yours, a good friend of the channel's, oh, there she is. Look at her coming in all coy. Good morning, Meerkamp, Poppy Red Mustang. Stacy, good to see you, family. Yeah, but she won't say a word about this, will she? The butt dial on purpose to rub it in. Cat, who was Dunn? Dunn is OJ. There's a country group called Brooks and Dunn. And so Cray Cray said, if you're Brooks, where's Dunn? I said, he's Dunn over there taking a nap. That's black ass OJ. All right, let's look at this. This is from the chief from Malaya's reservation.
So I'm getting word there's 3 raids going on currently in 3 different First Nation communities. Buladek, Bakangeg, and Wekoma. I'm hearing that there's going to be more on other communities. So what we're doing in Sabaganagity, already started, we're going to have checkpoints at our entrance and at our exits. If you're up here visiting family or you live here, come on up. If you're not trying to do us any harm, you're welcome in our community. But for those who want to do us harm by force in our community, you're not welcome here. And if you're foolish enough to come up here, you better be smart enough to figure out how you're getting out.
Woo!
Straight up.
Woo!
Our roads are blocked. So have a good day, everybody. Stay safe. And remember, we as Mi'kmaq has jurisdiction over these lands. Sorry, I'm getting fired up, but I'm tired of this government trying to push us around and tell us what we can do and we can't do.
Woo! What's with all the raids? What's going on? Are they possibly going to these reservations looking for Jack and Lily? I'm looking for Meerkamp because I got my spanking spoon out and she about to get it. She made it rain. Ginger's mom said they're weed raids. Oh my. So it has nothing to do with Jack and Lily? Well, let's listen again because she's all fired up and she is PO'd.
Hey everybody, Chief Michelle here with Sabaganagity. So I'm getting word there's 3 raids going on currently in 3 different First Nation communities. Buladek, Bakangeg, and Wekoma. I'm hearing that there's going to be more on other communities. So what we're doing in Sabaganagity, already started, we're going to have checkpoints at our entrance and at our exits. If you're up here visiting family or you live here, come on up. If you're not trying to do us any harm, you're welcome in our community. But for those who want to do us harm by force in our community, you're not welcome here. And if you're foolish enough to come up here, you better be smart enough to figure out how you're getting out. Straight up. Our roads are blocked. So have a good day, everybody. Stay safe. And remember, we as Mi'kmaq has jurisdiction over these lands. Sorry, I'm getting fired up, but I'm tired of this government trying to push us around and tell us what we can do and we can't do. You're not telling us. We're telling you.
Ooh. Ginger's mom said the government doesn't want them growing their own. It's ridiculous, in my opinion. Yeah, I tried telling that to the Indians around here. Enjoy. They know everything they have is sovereign and it's federal. Oh, look at Walking Dead. When did she become a real Canadian Indian? That's right. United we stand. My God, look at that. I thought Walking Dead was from America. You're united with the reservations in Canada. I learned something new about Walking Dead every day. Okay, so let's get back to it. We're here. We're in the thick of it. We're up to our ears. You know what I mean? Here we go. Dan the man checked into court. Look at him in all his glory.
Daniel Martell walks into the Pictou County Provincial Courthouse.
Couldn't be bothered. He could give a rat's ass of what's going on. He could care less. Hold on, what's Walking Dead saying? She said, laughing my ass off. I thought she was over here. My bad. I should just not comment. I celebrate your comments, Jocelyn. I do. Please don't ever stop commenting. Always comment, okay? And we know that every day you're like a gray goose. You're new around here. Ginger's mom said the U.S. tribes are united with the Canadian ones. Walking Dead made that very clear to me. She made that very clear to me. I was not sure before what was going on. Look at Daniel. No point in putting on a tie to see the judge, the magistrate, whatever they call him in Nova Scotia. No, he looks like he's got on Janie's sweater. And he knows what he's there for.
House Monday morning, met by a symphony of shutter clicks. He's been charged with 1 count of assault, 1 count of sexual assault, and 1 count of unlawful confinement against an adult female between September 2024 and March 2025.
Who's the girl in the vest and the white sweater that followed him in and follows him all around? I was told that she was just there, like she had court too. Who is she really? Because she's waiting on him. She's walking around with him. Oh, that's Logan. That's Logan. And I also want someone to explain, a real Canadian, why is the sexual assault charge not the big R? Rape. Why is it not rape? I don't know anything about Nova Scotia law.
In September 2024 and March 2025.
The window of the charge, the multiple charges that are before the court are beyond 12 months. I would proceed by indictment based upon the time frame of the charges because there is no statute of limitations per se, other if you're proceeding by way of indictment.
Martell first became a familiar figure in the media when his stepchildren, 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old...
They are not his stepchildren. They are his ex-girlfriend's children. Quit saying he's the stepfather. Quit saying he's the primary caregiver. Quit saying all those things, okay? You want a label? I'll give you a label. He's a bum. He's the bum that was shacking up with their mama, okay? That's who he is. In a broken down ass trailer. And they're like, stepfather. Nope. Got to be married for that, don't you? Just hold up together in a trailer on Janie's property or her brother's is not how it goes. Sorry. Quit with it.
His stepchildren, 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan, went missing on May 2nd, 2025. To this day, Nova Scotia RCMP say the case remains a missing persons investigation, and Martell maintains his innocence. But now, these new allegations put Martell under a different spotlight. There was only standing room left in Pictou County's courtroom A as Martell was arraigned on his charges. His appearance lasted no more than 3 minutes before Judge McKean dismissed him. Leaving the courtroom immediately after, Martell declined media's request for comment. Despite the heightened interest in this case, the Crown wants to remind the public that in the eyes of the court, this matter is separate from that of missing children, Lily and Jack Sullivan. And as such, the victim's identity must be protected.
And that violation of a publication ban can be the subject of police investigation and or charges. Tread carefully.
Martell is currently in the process of retaining counsel. His next day in court will be March 30th. Ella MacDonald, Global News, Pictou, Nova Scotia.
Okay. Explain it to me. Break it to me gently. Break it to me gently. So he goes back on March 30th, which is hop, skip, and a jump. He's already been arraigned. I'm going to go ahead and assume that he pled not guilty. What is March 30th about? Remember, I don't live there. Is he going to wear the gold chain that looked like it came from Claire's boutique again? What are we doing? Spooky Lou Who said, in putting hands on her kids, in my opinion, allegedly, Jack didn't get those black eyes out of nowhere. Somebody blacked his eyes. Somebody did. Somebody did. And the battered women's syndrome, and that she couldn't get out and she was afraid to talk, doesn't hold much water with this mama. Okay. Now there's a case in Texas. I did a show about it a month or so ago. Little boy beaten up by mom's boyfriend. There's text messages. There's been a lot of arguing going on. You know, you're dangerous. You can't touch my kids. You can't do this. You can't do that. Well, she's in jail too. She's trying to grab the battered women's syndrome. I was scared myself. And they're like, you don't get to do that. No, you don't. Sorry. You're a whole grown ass woman. You're a whole grown ass woman. That is your apartment with a bum living in there. Ginger's mom said indictment means more severe charges. He didn't have a lawyer, so he has to have one by the 30th. He will make a plea, and they will decide which court will hear the case. Thank you, Ginger's mom. Well, let's go back to Jack and Lily, because, I mean, all of this going on between him and Malaya, and I do believe it's Malaya, even though the Crown attorney said tread lightly, we have to keep that a secret. Okay, well then I'm not saying it is Malaya. Just makes more sense to me that it is Malaya. I'm not saying I want it to be Malaya, but it fits perfectly into the puzzle. All right, let's get to what the RCMP is saying. So is it the RCMP that's going to these reservations and shaking them up because they're growing their own bud, or what's going on? Because the chief, Malaya's chief, she's uber pissed.
With hard work and the work we're doing and the information we're gathering, we will find out what happened with Jack and Lily.
Staff Sergeant McCammon, with the case of Jack and Lily, what's the latest?
We continue to gather information and then work any direction that there's more information to gather, review that and look for more opportunities. We continue to take in tips from the public and to review and move forward.
Is this case criminal?
Right now, we're gathering all the information. Once we have all the information necessary, we'll make decisions on any criminality that may be relevant to the case.
Are you treating this as criminal?
Again, we gather all of our information in any of these situations to a judicial standard in case there is information that identifies criminality.
So basically, he doesn't want to answer her questions. I dig it. I get it. Okay, keep the integrity of the case. Please do. It has been 10 months, my dude. It's been 10 months, my bro. I know exactly what you're doing. you are building a case and you don't want to blow it by telling these people, as in anyone that's listening out loud, what you're really working on. I think they have a very good idea what happened. A very good idea. So that's just what I think. Now, I do love the Facebook groups, because when someone talks about Dan going to court, I'm talking it takes, I mean, it lights up like a firecracker. They come in and go, you know, this has nothing to do with Lily and Jack, right? Got it. Totally understand. Could it be something that could be circumstantial that the RCMP is looking at that could help them solve the case? I don't know, but don't dismiss it, because one of the people that was there that day, May 2nd, 2025, is now in a heap of trouble from the Crown Attorney for horrible things. Sexual assault, not allowing someone to leave their home, domestic violence. No, these aren't easy things to stomach at all. And just like what I've been saying for a long time, Jack and Lily had to have seen these things. They had to have witnessed these things. And it escalated, because we know in the spring of 2025, we know that the school year 2024-2025, they missed a lot of days, 41 days. The two of them together, not just one child's homesick, not just one child had a cold, both of them together. Something was really escalating. And I believe that the violence was turned towards the children.
And that is part of our job, is to gather all the information so that we can make good decisions with it.
Can you explain how that works under the Missing Persons Act?
Well, basically, the Missing Persons Act gives us the ability to get judicial authorization to pursue different, more private information that we can then gather to review for any tips or leads, directions to go to find more information.
The children's stepfather, Daniel Martell, has also indicated that recently his DNA sample was taken. Why now?
Because it was the appropriate time, or we felt it was time to collect that information, of course. Sometimes DNA...
Yeah. He's like looking the other way. It was the appropriate time to take his DNA. Oh. Ooh. I mean, I can fill in those blanks. I can fill them in. Now we go back to what old Dan the man told us, that when they were filling out the form, it said, "Oh no, he is not. He's cleared. He's not a suspect." We've seen the form ourselves. There is no box that says that at all. It's an investigative tool. How can you say that this person is cleared when you're getting their DNA? And shortly after, well, we know it happened. Old Dan the man is in jail. He was back in court. He's got to go back March 30th. They can still use that DNA. I'm assuming Canada works the same way as the United States. With Jack and Lily's case.
It doesn't necessarily, not because anybody's a suspect, but to maybe we may find DNA in places where we expect it to be found, and we need to be able to eliminate people. So it's something that we do, especially in missing persons cases, that to collect that information, make sure it's safeguarded.
Are any of the children's family members considered suspects in this case?
I wouldn't say anybody's a suspect. Again, we continue to gather information and whatever evidence that we are able to find, and we'll make our decisions based on that. But we are not in a position to really comment on suspects or anything like that at this time.
Do you have suspects?
Again, we're working the investigation. I can't comment in detail on where we're going because I have to maintain any integrity of the work we're doing. Anybody in the public who has information that can help us with this are asked to please engage with us and pass that information along so that we can work with it.
Cheryl said there's a publication ban on the victim. I imagine so. I wouldn't want to be the Globe and Mail people and put out or a major news network saying it's Malaya. Truth is, we don't want it to be anyone. However, if the timeline fits, the timeline fits. We know that she went to a doctor in November of 2024. That is one of the dates that are part of his charges.
What do you think happened here?
Again, I'm not going to comment on what I think. As a professional investigator, we have to base our direction on evidence and information. So I'm not here to comment on my thoughts, and I'll allow the information we gather to make those decisions.
From the beginning, RCMP has maintained that this was not an abduction. The families believe that it could have been an abduction. Do you think that that's a possibility here?
Well, if that were something that took place, we will gather the information and we will pursue that, and we will pursue any charges related to anything like that took place. However, again, we don't have any direct evidence of an abduction or anything like that at this time.
So you're not pursuing the investigative avenue of an abduction?
We will look at all avenues of investigation. I'm just, that's not evidence or information that we have directly at this time.
Why not?
Oh, there could be a number of reasons for that. We may not have found that information yet. There could be a member of the public out there that has a key piece of knowledge that we haven't managed to bring forward yet. There could be a number of reasons for that, and the other one being there may not have been an abduction. So there may not be evidence out there to gather. Again, that's why we have to let the information we gather dictate our decisions and direction.
The families say that on May 2nd, they were told by an RCMP member on scene that an Amber Alert would be issued, and that did not happen. Why not?
I can't comment on the commentary that may have happened between a member and the family at the scene, but when it comes to the Amber Alert, the criteria for an Amber Alert wasn't met. We didn't have the necessary pre-qualifiers to issue an Amber Alert. However, we did issue vulnerable persons alerts related to the disappearance of Jack and Lily, and that was the appropriate kind of direction with the information we had at the time.
Looking back, was that the right call?
Yeah.
Have mistakes been made in the handling of this case?
I'm very confident in the work that the RCMP's done on this case, from the initial response that was within really minutes, and people on the ground searching property within a couple of hours, and the continued investigative effort by the investigators. I'm very confident in the work we've done. No, I don't believe we've made any huge mistakes, and we continue to put effort in to try and resolve what's happened with Jack and Lily. I'm confident in the work the RCMP's put into this file.
What's taking so long?
Well, the sheer volume of information that's come in is a big part, and investigations like this take time. We've had over 8,000 videos that we've had to review and go through. We've had over 1,000 tips from the public, and each one of those tips have to be reviewed in detail, and steps taken to ascertain the veracity or whether they're accurate or not, and that all takes time, and you have.
Yeah, like we said, they're gathering evidence. And yes, I know what they see in Facebook land. Love the Facebook groups. They are just the best. When someone says, "Oh, Daniel's in court. Did you see this picture?" And they come all in. It has nothing to do with Jack and Lily. It has nothing to do with Jack. It could be circumstantial. We don't know. We don't know the angle. We know nothing was done in November of 2024, but something's being done now in 2026. Seems to me it could be connected. That's just what I'm saying. We know, according to Globe and Mail, She gave all this information to the RCMP when she was being questioned, interrogated, whatever you want to call it, and it got leaked out. And from there, an arrest was made after they got Dum Dum's DNA.
To do it thoroughly, and you have to document it properly. So larger investigations, they take a lot of time to do, and we have to take these steps and make sure we get our everything in a row properly to move forward.
At this point, do you think those children are still in the woods?
We've done an extensive ground search using all technology that could be available to us, including drones and penetrating radar for the ground. We've had human remains detection dogs out there, and our ground search and rescue volunteers covered extensively the area around where the children were missing. So I think the chances are low. However, there's always that possibility that they may be in an area that just we haven't been able to find them. It does happen. It's happened. So I would say that the chances are there is a slight potential they're still in the woods, but we're following up on every lead we can to try and ascertain that.
So if they're not in the woods, where could they be?
Well, again, that's that is the main goal of what we're trying to accomplish, to find out what happened with Jack and Lily.
The court documents suggest that RCMP are using technology-based techniques. What does that mean? Basically, we're looking at whatever technology is out there to assist us with our work, whether that be during the search phase with the drones and the side scanning lidar.
Bobby Joe said, I left most of the Facebook groups. I'm not going to leave Jeannie's group, True Crime Jeannie, because, I mean, she keeps everything factual. And when people fly off the handle, boy, she's right there, man. She is right there. She's got her broom and she's going across the sky. She's like, we're not doing that. There's too many. These are two little kids. We're not doing that. And I agree with Lou. They're playing Daniel like a fiddle right now and pulling him in on different charges. Eventually, one of them is going to lead to discovery and extra search warrant. I don't exactly know how it works there. I'm going to go ahead and compare it to our system. I almost wonder if they don't have something on him and they're going to give Malaya some kind of immunity to give more information. Like, let's talk about the black eyes. RCMP knows what the CPS records say. They know. They already know what down. They've talked to the neighbors. They've talked to school teachers. They've talked to the bus driver. They've talked to all of them. So I mean, they know what's going on. But what they're trying to prove is where did they go and who made them go. I agree with you 100%, Amalu.
Radar, or whether that's through the use of different analysis products or other tech options, whether it be the use of video review programs that do things more efficiently, which we have done. You know, there's just looking at different ways to do our jobs more efficiently and to gather the most evidence possible.
In the early hours of May 2nd, we know from the court documents that 2 people in the area heard a vehicle coming and going. What can you tell me about that? Is that substantial evidence here? We have followed up on all those areas, and you know, we're confident in the information we've gathered, but I don't really have any direct comment about that situation. We've you know, it's part of our investigation, and we'll continue on with that. So you're not saying that it's not relevant?
Obviously, it's something that happened in the area the morning that the 2 kids went missing. We have to consider that a relevant thing to follow up with and look into, but I'm not suggesting that's creating us to consider criminal action or anything like that. As we approach the 1-year mark, is there any sense that this could become a cold case at this point? I can't really comment on that. The information and investigative work will dictate that. As far as I'm concerned, it's not going to be a cold case. This is a case that needs to be solved. So we will pursue every avenue available to us to ascertain what happened with Jack and Lily.
So as of right now, it remains very active.
Very active. Very active. Yeah.
Very active, he said. Well, I delved into these profiler shows quite a bit, except for Deception Detective. Something about him rubs me the wrong way. And sometimes I think that he will kind of go light on someone because he wants to be in their good graces to get information out of them. I like more people like Behavioral Panel, even though a lot of people think they got it totally wrong with Dawn and Candace Wells. I think they got it pretty damn close. I do, especially when they kept going after Candace Wells, saying, you know, there's something you're not saying. There's something you're not saying. She started like ripping off her jean jacket and taking off her microphone. Oh my God, Donnie. These people are trying to help you, Candace, but not help me. I mean, so when you get that type of feedback, you know you've hit a nerve. You know what I mean? Pat Brown's another really good one. She really is. So I want to look at this with my friends in here.
Hello, everyone. This is criminal profiler Pat Brown, and it has been all over the news, and it's very popular on all the internet channels, all the true crime channels, as to what happened to these two Nova Scotian children, because they're missing, and they've been missing quite a while. And so there's a lot of channels are going berserk, and they're being called, some of them have been called conspiracy channels.
Nope, no conspiracy. I can't speak for other channels, can only speak for what's in our own living room around here. We just go off what the facts say and what little bit the RCMP tells us.
Because they're pointing the finger at the mom and the stepdad as having done something to these children. Now, I would like to go through some of the basic points that I see at this point in time may actually support their theories that these children didn't wander off, nor were they kidnapped. So, first of all, let me read you just the latest information coming out. Police in Canada have announced they are dialing back the search for two young children who vanished from their home into the woods of Nova Scotia last week.
So as you can tell, this was roughly 10 months ago. So Pat Brown jumped right in it. Do not get her confused with Pat Kay. Nope, totally different people. And so she's looking at it. It's never a good sign when they say, we're dialing back the search and we're only going to investigate. They did that in the Summer Wells case. They've done that in the Sebastian Rogers case. Harvey Montgomery had been missing for almost 2 years. So there was never any initial search. They started out just doing nothing but investigating. But when they get a phone call, any police organization, my child is missing. And after some time, there is nothing. There is not a scent. There is not a trail. There is not a pull-up. There is nothing. There's not a sippy cup. There's not a backpack. There's not anything. But you have a pink blanket that looks like somebody put it up in the tree just 'cause. And the other part of it is in the trash. They know they're dealing with something different, but they still have to continue to look just in case babies did wander off.
Okay, I have a problem. Well, this is the Daily Mail, so but it's interesting when they say this because there is actually no proof that they disappeared from their home into the woods. There's no proof of that. That's simply bad reporting. What they really should say is the police have scaled back the search of the woods because they haven't found the children and so much time has gone by. I think they're thinking those children are not in the woods. Jack Sullivan, age 4, and his sister Lily, age 6, were last seen about 10 a.m. on Friday on a road close to their home in the Canadian town of Lansdowne Station. Well, that is complete. I don't even understand that because they weren't seen on a road, as far as I know. The 10 a.m. thing comes from the mom and stepdad who say that's the when they think that the children disappeared at 10 a.m. on Friday, on a Friday morning.
Hey, Cher had a little bit of insomnia this morning, 4 a.m. She messaged me. Cher, I would love for you to grab the link and come up and tell me your theory. You know, Cher's a real Canadian. She lives in Canada. And we were talking back and forth on Monday, and she said she has a theory. I want to hear everyone's theory, what you think happened. Remember, it's just a theory. That's it.
That's very questionable. And I want to point out, it's always questionable when the people saying it are the people that were with them and who might have something to do with what happened to them. The real question is, when did somebody else see them? Now, as far as I know, nobody's seen them at all since Tuesday. That's when the bus driver dropped the kids off at their home. Now, so the Tuesday was the last time somebody else saw them. Then the Wednesday was a holiday, so there was no school, so the kids would be at home. I'm not sure exactly. She's 6, he's 4. I don't know. I guess maybe he goes to preschool. So anyway, they were clearly weren't going to be seen on Wednesday. Well, unless they went someplace. And Thursday, she supposedly had a cough, so they stayed home. I'm not sure why he would stay home. So the last time they were seen was on a Tuesday afternoon when they were dropped off. And since then, as far as I know, unless if you know any differently, put it in the comments below. As far as I know, since Tuesday afternoon, that was the last sighting of the children outside of the claims of the mother and stepdad. So unless somebody saw them on Wednesday or Thursday, we don't know that they were alive on Wednesday or Thursday. We don't. So this is one thing the police will be checking. They'll be checking the phones, the mom and stepdad's phones. They'll be checking, I don't know if there's any cameras in the area where they can see the vehicles going by. They're going to check all of those things to be sure that these two children didn't come to harm in the home between Tuesday afternoon and Friday.
Hold on. Let's see what's going on here. Cocoa Pop. I hope the Jezebel takes the link. Love to know what Cher thinks. I'm getting her a t-shirt that says straight hoe. Straight hoe. Nothing's better than Dawn and Candace Wells' insults to like normal ass people. Okay.
The morning when the 911 call was made and were then taken someplace and buried, shall we say, because that's like 60 hours that I don't know if anybody knows where these kids were. And 60 hours is a long time. If something happened to
Uli girl's a straight hoe. She is. She butt dialed me on purpose last night, turned on her camera. I screenshotted this. She had Troy the plumber over. Go ahead. Go ahead. Hashtag Uli straight hoe.
them on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, that's a long time to get rid of bodies. Just saying. So they could absolutely drive a heck of a long distance and find a place, because it's a very rural area, lots of woods, to find a place to put the no longer alive children. Now, I'm not saying that happened. I'm saying that's what the police have to look into, because as far as I know, if Tuesday was the last time anybody.
Okay, we're having too much fun with the hoe comments, but I'm all in. V. Oakley said not bent or curved hoe. Uli is an older woman, so I'm going to have to go ahead and call her a curved hoe. Okay? All right? Let's not read too much into it, though. Okay? Let's not be talking about people's age and what they do with Troy the plumber.
Buddy actually saw them outside of people in the home. That is the last time there is any proof that they were alive. All right, so That's very concerning to me, that big period of time. It wasn't like they were seen that early that morning by a neighbor and then they vanished. We're talking, as far as I know, a long period of time. Then the second thing that really bothers me is when the mother gave her commentary about what happened that morning. A number of people have pointed things out, and they've caught on to this, and that's why a lot of people are suspicious of the mom and stepdad. The mom said she and the stepdad thought the children were playing, and they sneaked away the short time the couple were occupied. So they're in the bedroom, supposedly taking care of the baby, their baby. And so the theory that they're claiming they think is true is that they were just distracted. Kids went outside to play and then vanished, and they sneaked away. Let's find out how they sneaked away. We always make sure, Mom says, we always make sure that we're out there with them. Well, actually, that is obviously not true, because if they aren't in the house with you, then you aren't outside with them. So that doesn't make sense, because in other words, if they got out of the house without you being there, then you were not with them. So that's a statement that's just incorrect. We always, because it always is in there.
Never act like the helicopter parent and say, I had my eyes on my children the whole time, and then go, but I could hear them and then I couldn't. And don't change your story from, we kept sending Lily away and out of the room because we were sleeping. And then you change it to, I think I might have been doing laundry. These people and their fucking laundry excuses piss me off to no end. I don't have enough fingers and toes to count how many of these parents are guilty. I'm not saying Malaya is. I'm not saying Daniel, who is not their parent, but you know what I'm saying. When they suddenly say something as simple as, I was doing laundry. Well, how damn busy were you? I get I had diarrhea and couldn't get off the toilet. And I was given every 30-second courtesy flushes. That I would understand. But laundry? I got shit drying in my laundry right now. But I'm talking to you. Which I'd rather be doing, because I hate folding laundry.
Or you could say, we try to make sure we're out there with them. That would make more sense. But I guess that morning we screwed up. That would be truthful. This is not truthful. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them. And they happen to just get out that sliding door. They just, and I want you to keep an eye on the word just, because just oftentimes means there's deception, that there's a lie coming up. They happen to just get out that sliding door. How do they just get out the sliding door? Well, probably because it's accessible to them. Is that what you're saying? Like the lock doesn't work on there or whatever, or you're not really worried because they're 6 and 4. So if they can open the door and go out back, you don't really mind that much. Something's not quite right in what you're saying. They happen to just get out of that sliding door. And we can't hear it when it opens, she said. Well, how many times have they stuck out and you didn't hear it? It's a little confusing. All right. Now we get to this. They were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. This is where everybody goes, whoa. Even people who aren't profilers and don't do statement analysis go, whoa, this doesn't make sense. They were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. Then how do you know they were outside playing? That makes zero sense. And the next thing we knew, it was quiet. What?
Next thing it was quiet. Walking Dead, she's really on the ball today. She said, Brooks, did you see that comment? Let's see what comment. I see Cher said, can you drop the link? I did. Laura Uli said, good morning. MS Mama said, Carolyn, absolutely right. Trisha said, in my opinion, they still wandered off after that pic I had found and sent to you a while ago. I agree with her. Ilyanka is saying, my theory dumped into the Bay of Fundy, or one of the connecting to the Bay of Fundy, highest tides in the world. MS Mama gave Tina Kent 100%. V. Oakley said laundry in Walmart. Anna said they were dozing too. Walking Dead said, who's this Crime Lines and Lies? S3T. So what groundbreaking comments are we looking for here, Walking Dead? Oh, that one. ST3 said, you know nothing about kids. Thank you, Walking Dead. Stephanie Murray, I am so glad you're here, girl. I keep up with you on Facebook. How's it going after your new big move? All right, we got trouble knocking at the door, and it's not Troy the plumber. You all put your hands together. Well, good morning, Cher. How are you? Did you finally? Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, good. I can't see chat, but that's okay. Good morning.
Well, I'll tell you what's going on in chat. V. Oakley has an emoji that's covering her face. Someone said hi to Stephanie, and Walking Dead is going to send me a screenshot of something. It's action packed in there.
Ooh.
What is your theory?
Okay, for Jack and Lily?
Yeah.
Okay. Jack and Lily.
We were going to talk about it on Monday, but you were having a nooner with Mark, and I wasn't going to bother that.
Oh my God, you're crazy. Well, okay, I kind of have two theories. I think I was chatting up Daniel for some time.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think he found out that I was turning everything over to Belinda's attorneys and to the law and RCMP and all of that, because he was saying some weird stuff, like how, I don't know, our conversations, please be the one person that doesn't go public because I could ruin him. Well, ruin him how? If he's innocent, how the hell would any of our conversations ruin him? So yeah, I mean, I think that, of course, there was abuse going on. I think it's the Canadian wells, honestly. It mimics a lot of that. So one theory, I do think that it's possible Malaya has the children hiding, but that theory kind of goes out the window because I have for years, I've got friends in the RCMP. I have people I talk to. I've turned things in Jack and Lily's case. So I've rubbed elbows, kind of heard some chatter. And I mean, I'll just tell you that it seems like many members of the RCMP feel as though they are not alive anymore. So it's hard for me to believe that they're alive when, I mean, you straight up have RCMP members saying that and crying and saying they don't believe that the kids are alive, that they are dead somewhere. And I get the vibes too that they very much think that Daniel's more involved, and Daniel knows that, which is why he told me not to share any of our conversations.
Why he lying about the DNA, saying that the form said that he was innocent or whatever that gobbledygook. I have a copy of the form.
Thing with the RCMP, just like the states, they are allowed to set things up and lie to you, but the RCMP, if you look up, there is some very, very famous cases of detectives and RCMP members where, I mean, basically what you see me doing in cases and with the wells, detectives will straight up do. And there's some cases that have been taken to court and had to get new jury and stuff because they didn't like how detectives handled it. There's a certain word it's called, and it's actually becoming illegal to do in Canada. But anyways, all that is to say that they could have him see any paper they wanted, anything to make him feel comfortable and make him think the law does think he's innocent and play right into that. Yeah, they absolutely do. The RCMP does. So that's all I think it is. I think he did see that. I think they on purpose did check a box to let him feel innocent, to help him calm down and slip up, if that makes sense.
Did it make sense to you when they asked the guy from RCMP well, why did you get his DNA now? Because it was the appropriate time. I'm like, oh yeah, I know what we were talking about. I can smell that rose. Hey, real quick,
Yeah, so they obviously have more stuff they aren't releasing publicly, but we kind of all figured that. I do think that there was some kind of possible fluids inside the house found, or the trailer, whatever.
all the drugs her sister talked about and said that he was running around with chicken with his head cut off, and then he was in the
Yeah.
bathroom for a long time. Hey, if you all can see the screen, Walking Dead sent this to me. I don't know who this Crime Lines and Lies S3T is. It says you know nothing about my children. I didn't put that in there.
What?
Rapper, are you dicking around again? Rapper, you bad boy. Okay, so what is your theory on what you think happened? It's her opinion only, by the way. Don't go running with it and go, Sarah's got inside information. I heard it on Breakfast Channel.
Yeah, no, it's just opinions. That's all anyone has at this moment. And obviously I form these opinions because I talk to people myself, right? So, but again, it's just my thoughts and opinions from that. I think that both kids were being abused. I've made a post and it made Daniel absolutely crazy when I made the post. He threatened me. He's threatened me like Dawn has a few times, but I made a post that basically I think that Lily witnessed what happened to Jack, and so Lily had to go, if that makes sense. And I mean, I think that she was also being abused in every which way. I mean, I think it's pretty simple to see or know. Now, publications having to keep the victim quiet, I'm not really sure if that means YouTube or what, but if you go back to it, it goes back to, I don't know, I think a year or two ago. And I mean, we all know it's Malaya, right? And I can tell you why I know it's Malaya. Because they were living together then. And yeah, the things happened in his house.
And the statement to the RCMP that was leaked by the Globe and Mail.
Oh, I don't think I saw that. But it's definitely Malaya. So you have to ask yourself why now. And the thing, guys, is we can't get too excited because Canada does not do cases the same. So if Daniel gets arrested just on simple abuse charges, he's going to be a free walking man in a matter of 90 days to a year. Canada just doesn't. And I'll use, this isn't to talk shit, but I'll use my dad as an example. And he is just one of many examples. But how do you kill 4 people and you are still a free man to live your life today? You know what I mean?
Oh, I forgot about your dad. Yeah. Have you still patched everything up with him?
Oh yeah, I mean, my dad and I are cool. So I'm just using that as an example because it's not just my dad, but that's just how Canada. And we used to joke back in the day that if you want to murder someone, do it in Canada because you will see freedom again. You know what I mean?
Well, we saw that.
But that's just a joke. Please don't take that serious and clip that, you guys. That was just a.
No. We saw it with Carl Homolka. It doesn't mean it works that way all the time.
Yeah.
So of course, people from this side of the border have a lot of questions. Like, now hold on, what is going on here? You get DNA from them May 2nd, 2025.
Yes, I think they're going. So I think they're doing the assault and abuse stuff now to basically have reasons to drag him in. You know what I mean? To keep on his ass, because he said, "Oh no, they're not contacting me as much anymore. I'm innocent. And yeah, I feel so innocent because they've backed off of me now that I did the lie detector and blah blah blah." Well, sure doesn't seem that way, does it? They're taking you in for charges they know he won't hardly do any time for, but they're going to start adding them up to basically scare him into talking. And if you tag Daniel, I know he watches because he's that type of person. He is the Canadian Don Wells, all right? Narcissist narcissists have to watch everything about them. So make sure you tag Daniel, because Daniel, the thing is if you would just clock what really happened.
He's probably listening right now. Him and Brad and
That's why I'm
Durwood.
saying. That's why I'm saying this right now, because he hasn't blocked me again, but he isn't responding. He's reading my messages but not responding. But that's probably smart, because that's just probably smart if he actually really doesn't have an attorney, which I did offer to get him as well. I do think that Malaya is also guilty, because at first I thought maybe Malaya didn't do nothing and she really doesn't know. But here's the thing, is that Malaya's mom has been recorded, and we all heard Cindy say Malaya's going to have to pay for what happened to those kids eventually. So you're saying your own daughter has to pay. So what the hell does that mean? So that kind of tells me they both know what happened. They should both be in trouble, but I'm not sure that's how it's going to go, because again, in Canada, she might get in trouble for like lying to the police or hindering investigation, maybe, but she's not going to do any more jail time than probably a month, you guys. Canada sucks. Canada really, really sucks. But yeah, so my theories is Malaya possibly did hide them, because you know, he was getting more manic as he did more mass. And I heard more than just that, popping pills, all kinds of stuff. So, and I mean, yeah, I think Daniel's mom knows exactly what happened. I think she was a part of it, and she's one of those monster moms that will do anything to protect her son, kind of like Ed Gein's mom. That's how I see Jamie. And also I heard, they sent the cadaver dogs later, which we all knew it was too late, but the rumblings our way is that was more so on purpose, just to shake things up and shake things up, make Daniel not so comfortable.
Oh no, I can agree with that. It's just a different system. It's like a lot of people have been asking about, totally off topic, but Andrew, the former Prince Andrew over in the UK, and they're like, hold on, how can they just arrest him like that? Why can't we do that? Because
he wasn't supposed to be arrested. He wasn't really arrested, you guys. I tried to tell people, but he wasn't actually arrested. And that taking him in, though, might have actually harmed. So I kind of feel we can have a whole conversation about that. I feel like that whole arresting was done on purpose, because prosecution said they don't have enough to press charges on him. He shouldn't have even been arrested. And people aren't hearing that or talking about that enough. And so when I hear that, and it's coming from reliable sources, and I mean, that's why he was released just a couple hours later, because the prosecution does not have enough evidence they don't even know what charges they could put on Prince Andrew and such. So he was released, and now it's being said that was kind of done on purpose, because that fuck up is actually going to help. That mess up is going to help Prince Andrew in the long run. I think people will see.
On bail. I mean, that's neither here nor there. I don't know what's going to happen with that case. I just know that
he's not on bail right now.
Yeah, they paid a lot of
Daniel.
No, not. Oh, yeah, Daniel's on bail. I'm not worried about Andrew right now. Okay, so you're thinking this could have been like abuse that escalated?
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I do. I think that they were messed up, didn't get sleep, and you know how that stuff can make people. I mean, you can go from happy and lovey-dovey to angry, right? We've all been around addicts and see how what do you call it? Behaviors, your personality can change in the blink of an eye, really. So I think they were very, very tired. They were coming down off of whatever. I think Daniel was actually out and was waiting on picking up more. And I think that made them very irritable. And I think that Jack came waking them up, and that pissed Daniel off. And then I think that something something happened to where he couldn't call 911 because then all of the abuses would be kind of like Summer can't call 911 because bruises and all kinds of abuse is going to be found out, right? And then I think Lily witnessed everything, and well, we can't have that because she's gonna run her mouth, right? So Lily had to go too. And I'll tell you,
At least
the
two
theory
cases.
of them being alive, I don't think is true, because if the law thought that, okay, Malaya really just has these kids hiding and whatever, the law is not going to keep up everything they're doing. The RCMP does not like to spend any kind of money. So if they thought Malaya really does have them hiding, this would be shut down so damn fast, you guys. But that's my opinion. Again, I don't know 100%, right?
I see too many similarities. Like I said on my show on Monday, I'm like, is there a guidebook for these people? You were in chat and you said something about laundry, and I named off all the cases that just came from the top of my head where someone said they were doing laundry. It's always, I guess some people, they think that that's just like an everyday occurrence. They never say, well, I was in the bathroom, I was sick at my stomach. They never say, you know, I had a migraine and I was in the tub. They never say shit like that. It's always, I was doing
Right, they're doing the laundry. I didn't even recognize that till your show the other day. And I was
Look
like,
at
wow, everybody was doing laundry.
Look at me educating the masses. My God. Hey, is
Do
everybody
you know how I can pull up the chat? It's okay,
Do
I guess I don't.
co-
I can't see what people are saying, but that's okay.
Ginger's mom said our laws are good, but our sentencing sucks. Mama said they'll always do laundry and the kids went in the woods. Yeah, exactly. Walking Dead said her dishes, because Candace had 2 water references within like household chores, laundry and dishes.
So if you didn't know they were outside playing, then how did it become quiet? I mean, wouldn't it have been quiet, just quiet? I mean, if you didn't hear them outside, and then it got quiet. What? It's nonsensical. All right. Then this is what gets interesting. That was in past tense. Now we go into present tense. We get up and look outside. Now, when people go into present tense, there's usually deception. In other words, this isn't exactly what happened. So now I have to imagine it. And I'm now going through, like I'm fantasizing what could have happened. So here I'm going through like an act. Okay, so we get up and we look outside.
Spooky Lou Who said Candace made a big to-do about her and Summer washing their hands too, more water. Stephanie said that's creepy. I've never picked up on that before. Evelyn Boswell, she changed her story many times, but I'm just picking on was doing laundry. Michael Vaughn, when they went to Kuna, Idaho, they were there to do laundry. Letitia Stout, laundry. Madeline Soto, Stefan, Mr. Boyfriend, Mr. Disney, was doing laundry. I can name others. It just seems like they think that someone's just going to buy that. They don't even understand they can test your water pressure. They can go to your water board and say, I need to know how many gallons of water this house used on this day. They know how many gallons go into a washing machine. They know how much water a dishwasher uses. They know if water is running consistently, then somebody was in the shower or they were watering their garden. They can figure it out. And in every one of these cases, somebody will get on the stand and they'll tell this boring ass story about how they checked the water. And they will say, and it's impossible, this person did 6 loads of laundry.
We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. Okay, so this is all present tense. Not we looked for them, we yelled for them, and it's also very vague. Where were you looking for them? Where were you yelling for them? How long did this go on? This is all because I don't think that happened. That's what it seems like. So therefore, it's all imaginary, and there's no details because there's no details to put in there because they don't exist. And then she said, and I instantly just called 911. Now she goes back to past tense. She did call 911. So that is something in the past tense, you see? But the just word is there again, too. Why is the just word? Well, you don't just call 911. You just call 911. And then she instantly just called 911. Like she's got to say that somehow she didn't waste time. She was so concerned about her children. She instantly just called 911. All she needed to say was, we couldn't find them. We called 911. I called 911. But she does, and she adds instantly and just. And that, to me, is deception.
Pat Brown is saying the little extra sprinkles, tell her that's deception. I instantly just called 911. Not they weren't yelling back, we weren't hearing them anymore, and called 911. Good morning, Retro. I've got my new shirt on that you got me. Me love you long time. Before you know it, I'm going to change my name to Crime Lines and Profiles. I start learning how to profile people. I'm going to start with Walking Dead.
And then she goes on with another just. I just had the instinct I needed to call. You have to explain why you're calling 911 when your kids are missing? Why do you feel the need to explain that?
Okay, obviously, this question has to be age appropriate. So I'm just going to say the age of Lily. I'm not going to even bring 2 children into this scenario because I'm asking you. How long would it take you to call 911 if your 6-year-old you believed had wandered off or you could not find your 6-year-old? There's really no wrong answer. I'm just curious. I mean, I've had my children get away from me before. One got away in a store, was in the toy department and was looking at Power Rangers. And when I picked him up, he yelled fire because he learned if there was stranger danger, you could yell fire. And I'm like, I am not a stranger. I'm your mother, and you're not getting a Power Ranger today. Okay. Another time we were at the zoo, but I grabbed their asses real quick. How long would you wait to call 911 on a 6-year-old that you could not find and you were not hearing anything back from? Tina Kent said immediately. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. I'm calling immediately.
Anybody would just say, I called 911. That's the end of it. Now you have to, I had an instinct. Good, that's good. I'm glad you got some human instincts that I needed to call. No, but your kids are missing. That is a very bizarre statement. And again, it's likely because what's happening is not really what's happening. She did call 911, but not probably for the reasons she's trying to claim. All right. That is very...
Okay, I agree with her. And I'm going to tell you why. I think something happened on Thursday. And Meadow was taken care of. Malaya made sure to have eyes on Meadow. And somebody else, could be Daniel, could be a friend of his. I don't know. Do not know. Made sure to take care of, I'm going to say, the problem. Got to be nice. Got to be nice for the old YouTubians, YouTube. And Janie will go along with anything because you can tell exactly how she is. She's not covering her ass. It's easy to cover your ass. You flat out say, don't ask me another question. I know what that fool did, and I gave birth to him. She's covering for him. Trust me, that lady does not like this stress. She doesn't. She looks like she could bite through a crowbar. She does. She looks like she could really get after somebody. None of their life makes sense. None of what was going on in the house makes sense. 41 days of school these babies missed. 41 days. And you've got a wrench in the door so a bear doesn't get in. But you give these two babies, 6 and 4, free reign to go outside with no wrench in the door because you're outside and these wild bears are out there. Sure had a wild bear come see her on Monday. But not the same wild bear that saw Uli last night. Did you see this retro? Retro last night, Uli called me at 10 o'clock and I answered. She didn't realize that, she had called me, butt dial on purpose. And she sent me a picture of Troy the plumber. Exactly, Anna. Big fight on Thursday. Big fight. Something had to go down. One of those kids witnessed something.
Weird. Now, that is one of the reasons people did pick up on that. So some of the channels, which I don't even like, because I find them concerning in the fact that they go way too far and way too, they do, I'm not fond of them. However, the ones that they pointed this out. They didn't like it, what she had to say. So they were doing some good statement analysis on their own. So conspiracy theorists, though they may be, maybe in this case, it could be on point. All right, so I've got a problem with what she says. Doesn't mean she's guilty. This is what the police have to investigate. Understand the difference between when I'm profiling and going through different pieces of evidence and saying where it points to. If I were working with the police, I would say this exact thing. I would say, I'm concerned about the mother's statement.
Virginia Wolf has a question. Wants to know, did Uli take the stuff out from under the sink for the plumber? Shaking my head. No, she told him it's sweaty. It's warm under there. So she told him to take off as many clothes as possible. And she couldn't bend over to do all that. Okay. I did hear that part of the conversation. And then she said, slide slowly under the sink. Yes, she wasn't a big help last night. Okay.
They don't seem to be right. They seem to be deceptive. And so I say, you need to look further at the mother and the stepfather. You absolutely need to look at that. You also need to look at the time frame. That there's a 60 hours where apparently nobody saw the kids except supposedly them. And that gave them 60 hours to possibly remove the bodies from the house and do something with them. If the children got into drugs, if the children were, whatever happened to them, I don't have a clue. But if something happened to them, that would be their opportunity because they had 60 hours to work with. I would point that out to police. Does not mean they're guilty of anything. This is just one investigative avenue. While they're doing this investigative avenue, they also should be looking at a possible kidnapping, possible missing. They just got lost. You have to look at all of them. But the evidence is not exactly pushing toward that they got lost or they were kidnapped. Now, let me tell you why I think that.
Now, mind you, this was almost 10 months ago, okay? The evidence is not pointing toward them being kidnapped or they just wandered off. Why? We can all answer that because they scaled back the search and said, we're just going to investigate. And they said, we don't have any criteria to say that they were kidnapped. Criteria in their world means evidence. I think I heard that on Alicia K. Ruitt's show. I think she explained that to me very nicely. I think so. Retro. We have never had a plumber like that at our house. I'm telling you, that's why Uli's not chatting right now. She's figuring out some more pipes to stop. She is. She'll start flushing Finn's cat hair down it and everything. Start making bacon and put it down the garbage disposal. You know how slippery she is.
Pushing toward.
And so does Troy the plumber.
That they got lost or they were kidnapped. Now, let me tell you why I think that. So the third thing that really struck me is where this all happened. And this is where they supposedly may have gotten lost at. Well, you can see that they could easily get lost in all the woods there. But the kidnapping thing is a really kind of tricky there because they literally have to go out to the road and then be kidnapped. Because if you look at this house, this is the front of their house. But here is, okay, the road isn't even near there. There's a lot, there's a long way down that dirt road to somewhere to eventually to be at a road. So that the kids would get all the way out to the road, or that the kidnapper would come all the way in is very unlikely. Now, so the kidnapping thing I think is unlikely. And also, then I get to where they could have gotten lost if they actually did get out of the house. Now, what do I see here? Now, here's a sliding.
We see junk. We see junk. We see people that don't clean up after themselves. That's what we see. Lolo said, "Oh, and butt crack is so sexy." Yeah. For some reason, Uli knows a lot about her plumber because she says that he waxes back there. She said he must wax. Okay, so looking at the picture, I see junk-ass cars, a junk-ass trailer that is not inhabitable, and just junk everywhere. I mean, everywhere. Don't get me wrong. If I was coming out of the rain and had nowhere else to go, I'd be in there. Okay? Not for long. Not for long. Mary Edwards. I just came in and saw the hunk under the sink. I think I can stop mine up. I know. Uli is setting a trend. I'm telling you. Don't ever answer her call at 10 p.m. Okay? Just don't. Continue watching your Judge Judy reruns like I was doing. I see nothing but junk, 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 junk. That's all I see. That is all I see. This is what I call an Arkansas picnic. They love that shit over there. And it looks like Daniel does too, and Janie. And I have a good feeling that she was given that land.
Door going out to the into the backyard. Now, there's a lot of people who their comment, let me show you the whole backyard. Their comment is, "Oh my God, these people are slobs. They're probably drug users. They're scumbag parents." There's a lot of nasty stuff because of there's a relative amount of debris around the house. But I'm going to say this. A lot of people live in the country. They like fixing cars.
I get that part, but Farmer Daniel and Farmstress Malaya aren't doing any fixing of cars and just being good old country folk. Some of the cleanest floors I've ever seen in my life and neatest yards and property are country folk. Country folk. Okay? This is something totally different going on here. And it comes down to 5 letters. DRUGS. To the point, Janie left that beautiful mobile mansion and went to go lay in the RV for the whole winter because she said she couldn't stand it anymore.
These people have chickens. Sometimes their houses aren't as neat and clean as people in the suburbs or city would have. So it doesn't mean the children are abused. I just want to say that right up front. They could be in a messy house. They could have junk outside and be having a heck of a great life. They could be having fun all the time. They could be getting lots of love, and they could be having picnics and barbecues, and the families could be getting together, and the kids could be running around having all the fun in the world, playing with the chickens and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with what's going on there. It's just not the lifestyle you might live. So I don't fault them and say that their lifestyle has anything necessarily to do with what happened to the kids, unless there's drugs. in which case that's another issue. And that's what the police are trying to determine. But here's the thing that really bugs me. I'm looking at this backyard. The chickens are in that little place where you see the little wood strips over. That's where the chickens are. My family also has chickens, so I kind of relate to the chicken thing. A lot of times kids go out there and they want to go into the chicken coop and play with the chickens if there's not a big, huge rooster to attack them. And that they might enjoy doing that. 6 years old and 4 years old, that they would go out into this backyard and play for a long while. I don't believe that mommy or stepdaddy is always staring out that one, because there's not a lot of windows back there. So this is the backyard where the kids play. So I'm going to guess that a good.
Impossible. No one has their magnifying glass or their binoculars keeping an eye on their children every 2 seconds. We get on the phone. We've got to go check the mail. We're cooking in the kitchen. We're preparing lunch. We're making dinner. I'll never, ever, but there's a lady speak around here all the time going, you never take your eyes off your children. I'm like, hold on, your kids go to school. You're telling me your nasty ass has not taken a shower since your kids were born? What are you talking about? You don't sleep? Get out of here. And that was during a Michael Vaughn case. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm not saying neglect them. I'm not saying ignore them. But don't sit there and act like you got a freaking chip in their brain. You nutcase. And no, we can definitely see what's going on here with Daniel and Malaya. And it's called the I don't give a F school of parenting. Oh, they'll be fine out there. They know how to make Pop-Tarts. Speaking of, get me a Pop-Tart. I had a lot of meth last night. Yeah, I'm just coming out of it. That's what we're dealing with here.
Portion of the time the kids go back there and play and their parents are not watching them. I don't buy that story from the mom at all. I believe they go out and play. And they have toys to play with. They have, I think, there's a swing set or something in there. There's a place to run around and kick balls and throw things and play tag or whatever they're going to do. They can run all over the place back there. They can have fun back there. I think there's even I don't know if they have a dog, but they mean they could play with animals back there. It's actually a great backyard. And look at it. It is entirely fenced. This is a fenced backyard. Now, I can't say there's not like a hole in the fence or something that they could have gotten through and got.
Hey, it'd be fine. I don't care how they want to live. If that's all Daniel can provide for Malaya and her children and their child together and his children with the other woman, if that's all he can do, that's all he can do. Okay? One day a week at work, there you go. Okay, fine. If that's all he's capable of doing, so be it. Wouldn't be anything wrong with that yard if you watch them and you weren't abusing them and you weren't abusing drugs and you weren't abusing each other in front of the babies. You don't do that.
Out and therefore be wandering into the woods. But they could do that. But they're 6 and 4. They're more likely to simply play in that backyard. It's not a place where kidnappers are going to probably jump over the fence. It's a great location for kids to play. And I can't believe it. It's 10 o'clock in the morning or whatever, 9 o'clock in the morning. The kids get up there. They're taking care of the baby. The little kids go out the back and they go down the steps and they go play in the backyard. That they went missing like right away. Oh my God, within minutes, they're just disappeared out of the backyard. I don't buy it. So I actually think the backyard is a great backyard and a fenced backyard. And I don't think that it makes sense that within a short period of time, they vanished. Now, if it was one of these cases where the kids were left alone in the house and mom and stepdad went off and went to do something for 4 hours and the kids were in the backyard for 4 hours alone, okay, I might buy that.
Spill it. What do you think happened? You've basically used every word in the book you can to call them both liars and deceptive.
But it's just morning. It's just a regular morning, and the kids can go out and play. And they just vanished out of the backyard. Don't buy it. And that's why I think if I had to say what I think is more likely to have happened, I think something happened to the kids in the home. And I think that 60-hour window of something could be done with them is important. Now, that again is one avenue investigation.
I knew I liked this lady because I agree with her. I think something happened in the home. In the home. I'm not saying in the home something happened to Lily and Jack, but they might have seen something and they already knew they were in a heap of trouble with CPS. They already knew. And that's when plans had to be put into place. Belinda comes in here quite a bit, and she said several times in here. Of course, you know that's Jack and Lily's paternal grandmother. And she says all the time, Daniel and Malaya are each other's alibi. And I agree. I think with the huge fight about money on Thursday, the kid's not going to school on Thursday, that early morning call in to tell them they're not coming to school. Now, I want to know, what'd you do all the other times? What did you do all the other times? Were you that prompt to let them know the kids weren't going to be at school? Or did you even call at all? I have a feeling you probably didn't even call at all, which might have been another reason that the school had a huge red flag about you, Malaya, and your boyfriend, Daniel, that there's something wrong. Both kids go missing from school. Same day. Same day. And she doesn't even call. She doesn't say anything.
That I would, if I were working with the police, I'd say, absolutely, you better be looking at this one avenue of investigation, because there's a bunch of things that bother me. And it's that it's an unlikely kidnapping location. It's unlikely the kids left that backyard to go run into the woods and never be found. The mother's story doesn't add up. It's deceptive. And for the time frame, that 60-hour time frame where they could have done something with the children is concerning as well. Now, do I think they would have done something on purpose to the kids? I find that hard to believe. Usually, especially with a stepdad situation, sometimes we have a stepdad who gets angry with one of the kids because they're not his kids. And
boy, hindsight is something else. Because like I said, she did this basically like 10 months ago. She's like, yeah, I don't think so. But, you know, a stepdad situation, he could have gotten real angry. And now we found out after the first few weeks, CPS was involved. Jack was going to school black eyes. They had missed a ton of school, 41 days in one school year. That's basically 2 months. And some change. That's crazy. What child is sick? Brother and sister. 41 days out of a school year. And then Malaya's like, oh, well, they're ADHD. No, they're not. They're not in school enough to learn. And your dumb butt and Daniel's dumb butt aren't going to teach him anything.
Hurt one of the kids. That happened, but it's usually one kid. That something happened to both of them in the home is more interesting and more unusual, very unusual. So the only thing I can think of is that they got into some kind of drugs and OD'd. That's the most likely possibility I can think of, but I just don't know. And this is where a thing called a police investigation is important. So I do wish all the YouTubers would stop doing a show after show after show after show of speculation.
Thank you, Pat Brown. Now, my speculation is based on evidence, and that is this has been a kindling box for a long time. From September of 2024 all the way up to May 2nd of 2025. There was cheating, drugs were introduced, CPS was introduced, we're violent with each other. There was the sexual assault in November. Then it was you're not calling anyone. There's a wrench in the door. I mean, all these different things. Pretty easy to gap all that together to say things weren't good there at all. Am I going to go take up the banner for Malaya and say, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for you, girlfriend, after everything you've been through. You're such a warrior. You're such a champion. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. You put your babies around that situation. You put your babies around that situation. Hell, Belinda would have raised your children real quick and let you keep the money from the country of Canada. She wouldn't have had any problem with it to keep them safe. But you chose the selfish way out.
Because there's really no place to go, and let the police do the rest of their work. I'm sorry, something in my throat. At this point, they have to figure it out. And of course, they are probably going to, the stepdad says they're going through everything. I mean, I'm willing to take polygraph and all that stuff. They're going to have to do all that stuff to try to figure out where the truth lies and where the evidence points. But right now, the evidence does point in the direction of something happening in the home to the children. That's just my take on it. And I hope I'm wrong. The likelihood of the children being alive is not good, regardless, because it's been too long and they haven't shown up. If they went out into the woods, they would have died by now just from exposure and lack of food and water and all that. They'd be gone by now. If they were kidnapped, kidnappers don't, if they took 2 children, the chances of not doing something to those 2 children is also limited. So the chances of them being alive are very small. And I feel very sorry for anybody. If the parents weren't involved, I feel terribly sorry for them. I don't know who the biological.
No, she's exactly right. 2 children wandering off in the woods and getting lost is very probable. Very probable, especially since they're best buddies, Jack and Lily, and, they play together all the time. Getting lost out in the woods and they ventured out a little further and didn't know where they were, that actually makes perfect sense. 2 children being kidnapped? No. Because one's going to be grabbed, and as that one's fighting, the other one's going to run and start screaming. They're not both just going to jump in the car and say, oh, okay, even though Malaya wants you to think it. Malaya wants you to think that they don't know a stranger and they'll go with anyone. I wouldn't go that far. Kids do have certain senses that we don't have. Actually, some of us still have them, and some of us have lost them. 2 children going missing in a house full of drugs and cheating and abuse. That sounds exactly like foul play to me. But we have to wait on the evidence, my friends. Before we go, I'm going to say thank you so much for Cher for coming up. And I want to say thank you so much to Mir Camp for gifting 5 Crime Lines and Lies memberships. That's a heap. Love when you all grow the family. If you got a Crime Lines and Lies membership today, you please thank Mir Camp. All right, Mod Squad, you're the best. Walking Dead, education with you every day. Mwah, me love you. I will see you guys all back here tomorrow morning. So you have enjoyed the rest of your day. Bye-bye.